got like 7 minutes.
Yes, it is. It's because of Victoria Week. We're paying homage
That's
this whole
awesome.
week to
Victoria Day, yeah.
Yeah.
Queen Victoria.
Now they only made that holiday for the first queen, right? Not the second one.
I believe so. Well, there's been many queens, but I think it was.
Well, yeah.
You know,
Thanks for the history lesson.
Well, we'll have to get a monarchist on here to tell us, Jay.
Exactly. Next guest, a monarchist. Is that what they're called? A monarchist?
The people that believe in the monarch. Well, yeah. There's a monarchist society for Canada, even actually.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, as we get started here, and we are live right now, and we are recording, so I just want to, first of all, it was a great time this past week, and at the Chicago's National, well, first of all, the National Restaurant Association show in Chicago. You know what, Dominic? It was 700,000 square feet. I think I walked most of it.
Wow.
I killed my steps. I like, my phone even checked in on me if I was doing something weird.
Oh. I'd say, Jay, are you cheating?
Yeah, exactly. What the hell is this about?
You tied your bit to a dog, a racehorse.
Like, when your phone asks you what the hell is up, it's bad. No, it was great. It was amazing. So first of all, thank you to everyone at the International Restaurant Association. You guys are amazing. You treated us like royalty there. You know what? They gave us a booth. We had a great time. We got to meet so many people is absolutely crazy. All the people that I've met over 4 years doing podcasts, and then also to be recognized as the podcaster for the National Restaurant Association show was amazing. So thank you to all. Cool. I did miss you, Dominic. Next,
I was being there. I had a prior commitment. My mom
turned 90. Your mom turned 90, and everyone wished her that I saw. And I told you weren't there. You were at your mom's birthday, and they all wished her a happy birthday. And they loved it. Yeah, it was really cool. They all got it, and then they ripped India. No, it's just they're all polite first. But it was a great event. It was amazing. So thank you to everyone that's put us together on there. I would have to say, if we're not number one now, we're definitely number one in Canada. We're definitely up in there in the top ranking for the podcast in the nation right now because of what they did. They put us on the map, I tell you, this past weekend. So it's been awesome. And I tell you, everyone wants one of these hats. We got to get you one, Dominic. Yeah. And everyone wants the shirts and stuff. And we could sell swag. We definitely could sell swag.
We start doing that.
Side hustle. We'll get you a van, a trailer.
And what? Number 6 font underneath Canada's restaurant.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah.
Well, if I'm really good today, maybe you'll graduate me to number 8 font.
Number 8 font.
Just a little bit bigger.
We'll up you from 5 to number 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, we have a great guest on today. You know what? This is amazing. And I always like doing these podcasts. And I said this at the event this past weekend. Podcasts are great because we can do whatever the hell we want. And it's not a radio show. So, but God means we don't want to do that because radio is dying. So, and first of all, it's not a podcast. No. You know how many people reminded me this weekend in Chicago that I have not a podcast?
Yeah.
And then when I told them the real story, I tell you, you should have seen how funny they were and laughing and stuff. They had no idea. They thought I was actually making the fact that everyone's got a podcast and everyone does something different, that we wanted to be different by saying that we don't. And then when I told them the truth, they were like, no way.
The reality is we actually have become different because of that. So that's pretty cool.
Well, today we have an amazing guest on here live from London. So this whole week we're dedicating everything over in England and in London and the United Kingdom or UK. And all of our guests this week are from over there. It happens to be Victoria's birthday week. So we're partying it up. Partying. I can't even talk.
Partying it up.
I'm still jet
well, we could say whoop it up, right?
I was in Chicago this time yesterday. So in Minnesota as well. I got cookies in Minnesota. Anyways, we have a great chef, consultant, culinary rock star. He's like, I could just sit and talk to this guy. I think I've looked at his background. Yeah. Ryan, we creeped you out a little. And he's amazing. And he's also Canadian. So
yeah, that's the cool part.
That's a cool part. That's a cool part. So let's do the intro. Let's bring him in here and let's ask him because Dom's got to rush.
Yeah, I want to welcome him and then I'm going to go.
Then you're going to go? We'll just say you're going for a pee break. You want to come back?
Yeah, it might be in about 45 minutes. It's really, when you get older,
Ryan's like, Ryan doesn't shit.
When you,
right.
when you get older, it
Yeah, I
takes a
think
little
he just
longer.
freaked out. I think he just freaked out in the green room, going, "I can't talk that long." So these guys, all right, here we go. We'll be right back with our guest. Here we go.
Step my game. Step my game. Step my game. Step my game.
Welcome, Ryan. Ryan Brown, all the way from. Are you in London, Ryan?
I am in London. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Pleasure to be here.
No, this is amazing. You know what? By the way, we're streaming it live on my LinkedIn because you know what we can do, and because you're so cool, I wanted to do that. And this is a late night show, but we're going to. Well, it's kind of late night for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's 9:30 or 9:00 for him.
Yeah. Almost my bedtime.
Yeah.
So
and, I just want to thank you for joining us, and thanks for being, I think, our first guest for UK Week. On
Pressure's on.
UK Week, I kind of like that.
Hands, because I got to go. I have an appointment that I got to get to for 4:30 here, locally here, and I'm in Thunder Bay.
Actually. Thunder
Bay.
I apprenticed just down the road in Muskoka.
Serious?
Foots Bay. Yeah.
So really?
You're thinking of North Bay, buddy. Like everybody from Toronto would. Yeah. Thunder Bay is only about, I don't know, 1,500 kilometers from there.
Down the road a piece.
Or 900 miles or something.
All right.
And I don't know
close.
how many hectomiles, but
well, you go do your.
I've been over here for 12 years. My Canadian geography is a little off.
Oh, wow. Well, we miss you.
Cheers. Awesome. Back soon.
All right. Thanks, Dominic.
See you again, Ryan.
Yeah, see you. Take care.
Be nice to him, okay?
I will. I'll treat him nice.
Yes.
I'll be gentle.
Yes.
I'll be gentle. Anyways, well, Ryan, you know what? I've got so much. So what we do on our show here, what's nice about our podcast is that we break every bloody rule there is. And that's kind of the thing that we do. But a big part of our show is all about you. So I want you to tell us, give us the big long spiel about who you are, the amazing places that you've worked at. How did you become a chef? And like all these things, because I tell you, people like you, we need more people talking like you about their experiences so everyone else can jump into this amazing industry. So Ryan, where are you from? Let's get down to it.
So
you big deep breath.
Yeah. I'm from the mean streets of Montreal. Canadian boy, born and raised, and I guess grew up cooking at home with mom and dad. It was just kind of the thing to do, and I always had one parent that was home with me when I was school aged, and my mom was the one who was always kind of teaching me to level off the teaspoons and follow the recipe to the letter. So she was, baking and more of the scientific side of cooking. And then my dad was kind of the, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? And I'd say, oh, I want pasta Alfredo. And he'd figure, he'd take everything creamy off the side door of the fridge, the butter, the mayo, the, garlic. And it's like a bit of this, a bit of that. So I kind of got that like off the cuff, kind of mad scientist vibe from him. So I guess between the two of them, they really kind of sculpted me in different ways. And so I had my first kitchen job at 14, which seems to be kind of the magic age for a lot of people when you hear them tell their story. A friend of mine, so I was in the 8th grade, and was chatting to a buddy of mine whose parents had a catering company, a Chinese catering company. And then they decided to open a takeaway restaurant. So wanted a bit of pocket money, as you do when you're 13, 14. And so said he was like, can I get a job? So, I mean, I was peeling the plastic off the chairs and, everything from day one. And so I started answering the phone. People would walk in, I'd take their order. and then I would have to go back into the kitchen and pack the orders.
Oh
So
wow.
I was kind of on the other side of the pass, like a, expo station with all the tickets, bagging everything up before I brought it to the front for it to be collected. And that was really my first like literal window into the world of the kitchen with all this, firepower, wok burners, really like quick cookery, and just watching, chef, the way they've got all their inserts with garlic, salt, the flour, the corn flour slurry, and you just ingredients flying into this wok and fire. And so that was like a, like a holy shit moment for me in terms of like how quick everything was in the kitchen. And then one day someone quit, and chef was like,
Um, wow.
"Do you reckon, do you want to have a go?" And so, yeah, I was like, yeah, waiting for that day. So yeah, hopped onto the fried rice, and they showed,
The fried rice.
yeah, it was the fried rice. So they showed me the ropes. I mean, I did a ton of prep as well. So that was, breaking down 25-kilo bags of carrots, onions with like the bluntest knives around. So just crying the whole time. And I remember staff meal there. Staff meal was insane. So the food was really good. It was one of the better Chinese takeaways in our little suburban town of Waterloo, Ontario. Shout out to the Walk Wagon. I'm sure they're still around.
It's all-
Uh, and So yeah, staff meal. I mean, we had these lemongrass pork chops, and it was all like off menu, but it was, the stuff that the family liked to cook.
oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
also remember that being really different. So like obviously the food that I ate at home. So getting to try these like, really special dishes, special family dishes, was also just like one of my favorite parts of the day. So that I don't know, that went on for kind of a year or so, however long you keep a job when you're 14. Um, and then I went on to work at a diner, Greasy Spoon. Um,
No,
and yeah, and I was that chef who wore the red bandana with his pant leg
no, serious?
with his pant legs rolled up. I had the bent spoon tucked into my pants with the tongs on the side, like the holster.
Yeah.
And so, well, I guess same thing there. I started as a dishwasher, and I remember, the guys used to just have a laugh with me. And then, yeah, it was same thing. Griddle, pancakes and French toast. Someone quit, walked out, didn't turn up to work, and it was like, "Hey, can you make pancakes?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll have a go." So off I went, and then found my way onto the line. And then by the time I was 17, I was like running the place on the weekends. So I had a little four burner, where I would kind of call the pass and do the eggs. And then I had someone beside me on the griddle who was doing sausages, bacon, home fries. I mean, everything out the fryer. And then toast.
All I envision is that guy having a cigarette in his mouth too.
Yeah, just hanging out. And then someone who was just firing white and brown as fast as that conveyor belt toaster could go.
Exactly.
So we would
Stuck. The
sling.
odd slice getting stuck.
Yeah, we do like, I don't know. It felt like 1,000 breakfasts, but probably 300-400 breakfasts to
That's
all of
crazy.
the hungover university students of Waterloo, Ontario. So that was kind of like my short order cook, and I was starting to get a bit of an ego, and I ran the place on the weekends. And so yeah, I mean, I guess I still love those days. And I mean,
Yeah.
part of me one day would love to have that kind of diner again, because I love the simplicity of it. I love the authenticity of it, and I think it's a style of food that doesn't matter who you are. There's just something like so feel good about, those places.
I love the
Um,
guest. I love the guest in those environments, right? Like
yeah.
your customers. I love the guests that
So
come
we
in.
had every night of the week there was like a all you can eat fish and chips night, or hot beef night, or whatever it was. And then I remember, so sometimes if I was, I don't know why I would have been off during the day. I was in high school, but I worked day shifts the odd day. And I remember these guys would come in, and they were referred to as the Romeos. They were the
Serious?
retired old men eating out. And they would just come in and they go, "We want Don's toast." I'm like, well, what do you mean Dawn's toast? Dawn gets 2 slices of rye dry, and they would just refer to it as that, and you had to know. But yeah, the clientele were yeah, same people every day, similar faces, and yeah, just like a neighborhood
Neighborhood,
vibe, right?
right? Becomes an
Yeah,
institution in the area. I love those.
absolutely.
I love those places. You know, it's and those are the places I'm with you on that. That's that dream, right? Of having that one place, that diner, and then you can be because I think diners today also can get a little experimental in a sense with those dishes, and that
Yeah.
even elevates you even a little bit more, right? But the guests, I just love the guests. You come in because they don't get more real than that. They just don't
No,
get more real. No.
no. So my husband's from Charleston, South Carolina, so he took me to the Waffle House for the first time, and that was the same thing. I felt right at home, and then when I found out you could walk in there at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was still, albeit a different clientele in there at that time of day,
Man,
I was like, these people get me. Yeah,
I'm amongst my own.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
love that. You know what I didn't do when I was in Chicago? I didn't go to Waffle House. I
no,
would have went to one.
something to go back for.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be next trip.
Um, so yeah, I mean, and then you're 18, finishing up high school and trying to figure out what it is you want to do with your life. Because I was, we were part of a new cohort in the Ontario education system. The year before us was kind of the test year, and then we were the year that went in behind. They were reforming how they kind of prepped you for university or whatever your post secondary education was going to be. And so you had to make decisions really early on when
Yeah,
you were in grade 9, like where do you see yourself when you're
yeah,
when you're 18, 19? And they really make you think that the decisions you make today are setting you up for where you want to
yeah.
be 5 years from now. And trying to deal with that pressure at that age. And so we spoke to the guidance counselor at the time, and I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Oh, yeah.
I was studying physics, biology, chemistry in school, all university bound classes. Like I was a decent academic. But it was just the homework that didn't agree with me. I didn't
Mm,
want to spend my weekends sat at home with my nose in a book. I wanted to be
yeah.
out with my friends. And so yeah, she's like, do you have a part-time job? I say, yeah, I cook in a kitchen. She goes, you ever thought about that? I said, no, not really. Like, it's just a job. And she goes, well, think about, do you like it? Do you like doing it? I'm like, yeah, you get that rush.
Yeah,
And so, I thought about it and I thought about it. And she told me about, there's George Brown, there was Stratford, a bunch of different
yeah.
culinary school options that were, great options to have. And so, yeah, hopped in the car with my mom. We drove down to Stratford for like an open day. And I remember that's the first time I saw someone peel asparagus. And it was just like mine. I walked in the back door of Rundle's kitchen, and it was open. It was a summertime. And I saw this girl, I came in, I was like in my brand new, like stiff out of the pack chef whites for
Yeah,
my,
yeah,
my,
yeah,
tri-
yeah.
my trial day. And
It's got
I
the
walk over to
starch.
this,
All
walk
the
over to this,
starch in it.
yeah,
I
walk over to
totally remember those.
this woman who's standing over a board, and I was her responsibility for 20 minutes to help her out with what she was doing. And I mean, my hand was probably like this as she like got me to help her with the asparagus, but I was like, oh my god, you peel asparagus, like what is this? And yeah, kind of made the call to jump at it and go for it. And I was the youngest student in my year.
Wow.
And yeah, it was stiff competition. I was kind of the black sheep of the well, I wouldn't say of the year, but I was working in diners and the
Yeah.
seafood restaurant in the local mall, and those kinds of places. And I guess at that time you had a lot of people who were in their late 30s, early 40s, who'd maybe pursued other careers and decided that that wasn't for them, and then were kind of settling into their love for hospitality. I almost said coming to terms with their love for hospitality, but decided that that's what they really wanted to do. So in terms
Mhm.
of me competing with, the papers that someone who worked in HR for the Canadian government, I'm never going to compete with that.
Yeah.
So it kind of taught me at a young age to kind of keep my head down, learn what I can, and that I guess I felt like I had to try a little bit harder than everyone else to kind of stand out and make a name for myself, and get noticed. So went through culinary school, landed an apprenticeship at a new opening of a golf course up in Muskoka, which was just incredible. Spent 5 summers apprenticing up there.
5 summers. Holy cow.
Absolute magic. Yeah. Yeah, new opening, small membership, like elite golf country club. And yeah, the menu changed every week, and we changed positions in the kitchen every month. So you got to do pastry, you got to do garde
Really?
manger, you got to do entremet, meat and sauce. And yeah, so the week that there was a position change and a menu change, it was just like fucking chaos.
Oh my God.
But hats off to the chef that I worked under there, Matt Choma. He didn't make life easy on anyone, but it was all for the betterment of us, the apprentices, and trying to show us what we could. We had a greenhouse, and there was an elk farm nearby, and so nothing came in the door pre-made. We were kind of back when charcuterie was still not something that you dabbled in with the permission of the health inspector. We were curing Genoa salami in
So
the
that
wine cellar.
was that before that movement came then? Like
that was like, wow, that must have been like 05, 06.
really? Yeah. So
Yeah.
that wasn't talked about. No.
So we had a health inspector turned up one day, and I remember the assistant restaurant manager backed her car down the ramp where all the golf carts came in, and we unloaded all the salami into her car. We cranked the aircon on, and we put it in the parking lot, and she just sat there with a car full of charcuterie while we got inspected.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question before you get going here? I just want to pause
Yeah.
for a second and ask you a question on this, because I think I have a question for you, just because we have a lot of chefs and restaurateurs and stuff like listen to our shows. Was there a point that, like, 5 years going back to a country club and working in it, how do you not get, I would say stuck is the word, but how do you not just make that your career? Like, how does that stop? Like you said, 5 years you apprentice, and then you move on to your next, and you keep. And I have interviewed so many chefs that do that, and I'm inspired by that, because it's not like 5 years and, well, I'm going to stay 6, and I'm going to stay here as my career. How do you?
Yeah.
What's that movement like?
So travel came into my life at that point. So because it was a golf club, it ran from May to October.
Yeah.
And then the club shut. So there's 2 years that I stayed on, and we kept a really small team, and we tried to keep ourselves busy and earn our keep. And one year we bought a big tempering machine, and we made chocolates, and decided, hey, we're going to do a chocolate run for Christmas and Easter, and that's what we're going to do this winter. We're going to learn how to make chocolates. We drove down to Toronto and bought the molds and the machine. And I remember going to get it from customs at Pearson, and it was a big to do. So stayed there 2 years, and I mean, Muskoka in wintertime is desolate. Like you get to know everybody. It's proper small town. But I at the same time that I was having these great summers, I wrote to the director of Stratford Chef School and said, hey, listen, I'd love to get some international experience. And that's when he put me in touch with a friend of his, Andrea Petrini, who got me a stage at the then recently awarded 1-star Mirazur in the south of France.
No way.
So, I mean, I didn't, the place wasn't then what it is now. It was this, chef had just opened it a year or two before, won his first star, was this up and coming chef. There was a bit of a buzz happening. And I mean, I remember sitting there and, looking at the map and seeing where Menton was, where in France it was. Like, I'd never been to Europe before. So at maybe 19 or 20, I hopped on a plane, went to Paris, took the train down to Menton by myself, and then just sort of rocked up at the restaurant. And I mean, in hindsight, yeah, like really throwing myself in the deep end and doing some uncomfortable shit at a really young age.
Yeah, I was
Um,
19.
yeah. And then I remember, so there was the restaurant and bar, and then the floor below it was apartments, and they basically had bunk beds to keep all the stagiaires who were there working for free. There were 7 or 8 of us at the time, and some of the chefs lived there and stuff, but like you lived on site. And so there's me day one, hair perfect, whites perfect, knives, and I'm coming up. I'm trying to be a little bit early, and so
Yeah.
I go up the stairs into the kitchen. I don't quite know where to go, and I set the alarm off, and I wake everyone up in the building. So you
No
have
way.
The GM who's coming up in like his slippers and his boxers, and he's trying to get the alarm to go off. And I was like, first impression, like nailed it,
Oh,
Ryan.
no way.
Way to go. Yeah. So I was there 6 months, and yeah, like what an incredible experience. The produce, the kitchen, the
Mm,
environment, the standards, the attention to detail, the discipline, like unbelievable. All while speaking a language that's not my first, which was
wow.
also pretty tricky, pretty interesting, but also really like really lonely, really isolating. So had its highs and lows, but when chef decides to take the team out to this woman's pasta restaurant, like you could drive. It was quicker for me to walk to buy a bottle of booze in Italy than it was for me to stay in France. The next building was Italian customs. So you'd go walk into Italy to buy a bottle. So chef would take us on a day off. There's this place we got to go and try, and you're sat there at the table with chef and the whole team of this Michelin-starred restaurant, and those like pinch me moments. And I think those are, for as hard as hospitality can be, when you have those moments, those pinch me moments where you just look around at what you're doing, where you are, like those absolute magical moments, they can melt away
Hmm.
weeks, months of stress and discomfort and all of that. And I think that's what keeps us going, right?
Yeah, I call them pause moments. It's like in the movie where they have that where the music. It's always like the music, the whatever the start of the movie. They look around like the horizon, or they look like at a crowd, or a chef sits back in a movie and watch the his whole team going, and he just has that music playing. He's just having that pause moment. That's
The
what I
world, the
say.
world,
Same thing.
the world sits still
But
for a
yeah,
second. Yeah,
exactly. Isn't that
yeah,
cool? I
yeah.
love that, man. I love that.
No, absolutely. Um, So yeah, I got the traveling bug. I intended to stay in France. I got a working holiday visa. I went to stay there. Didn't quite work out that way. Ended up back in Canada. And so every year when I was in Muskoka, I do the season
Hmm.
there, and then it was, where am I going traveling this time? So I set up a stage at Bouchon in Napa, because I had to go and meet Thomas Keller. I had to work for him. He was my mentor, my idol, my everything growing up. So I spent a month at Bouchon, and that was just like absolute magic as well. Napa Valley, can't wait to go back sometime. It's just, yeah, to leave Canada in March and go there when everything's just starting to like come alive, and hop on your bike on the day off and go do some crazy wine tastings, and then you tell
It's
and then you
insane.
tell them and then you tell them what you're doing there and who you're working for, and it's like, oh, then the nice stuff comes out. So yeah. um
Wow.
and I guess, for better or for worse, that's what's always kind of kept me on the move in the industry, and kind of interested in moving around. And um but at the same time, I'm also a little bit envious of people who have stayed more or less, in their place and built their thing and have their community. And because when you do move around a bit, it's great that you get to experience so much and so many memories and different things. But it's a different way to live.
Do you find, Ryan, do that the older you get? Like, because I'm the same way. They like I'm like getting to a point where no more moving as much. Do you find the
Yeah.
older you get that you feel a little bit more, you have to stay in one place a little bit more now, or is that always going to be a part of you?
No, I think we're definitely, now that we have our son as well.
Okay, cool.
So that definitely gets you thinking a little bit differently.
Yeah,
So no, I think starting to crave that kind of permanency a little bit
mhm.
more now that I approach my late 30s and the big 40. Um,
Well, you just wait, man. You just wait. You you just wait. When you hit the 40, things change. Trust
yeah,
me, things change. But I think that's the other point, like, that I wanna share with you, that I feel, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you're probably getting into a point where you're starting to mentor a lot of people now too.
no, exactly. And I think that's also a contributing factor to wanting to stay in one place is because all these relationships that you build, right? And people, chefs that would die for you, or not die for you, babysit for you,
Yeah,
or come in, drop anything at the last minute to come and help you out if you needed it. Like having that network of people around you, those lives that you affect, those people who follow you wherever you go. um, you want to make sure that you have those people with you in your life
yeah.
for the long term.
Yeah, and I feel that that's, like, I just feel that when I'm chatting with you, that all those people that have helped you along your journey, you're gonna return that favor in a way and probably start helping a lot of other chefs in the same way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, something that people have always complimented me on is the way that I build a team, the way that I am with teams. And I think I haven't I guess the reason I haven't decided to do something, a restaurant venture of my own up until now is I just haven't known what I've wanted it to be. I haven't found something and said, I want to do that for the next 5 to 10 years. I want to be in that venue, cooking that food
Mhm.
day in and day out. And yeah, so I guess tasting different things, and but as every year goes by, I think I get a little bit closer to maybe having an idea of what I would want that thing to be, or sort of what that niche in hospitality looks like for me. That's maybe a little bit more long term.
Yeah, yeah, that's I'm gonna say, like, that's gonna be something interesting as a chef, is to really start looking at like what that next step is, because that's a big step, is moving in that direction, right? And to also make sure, because that's probably like a whole new life as well for you, is the the triumphs and the challenges that comes from that, is probably another area, like, owning and developing what that looks like, and like what part of the world, like, you're in
Yeah.
England right now, is this the place that you want to have that, or do you want to have that back in America or Canada? Like, what's that next step?
Well, I think we're, well, I guess maybe fortunate or unfortunate, depends how you look at it. But
I
there's so
think you're
many
fortunate. I think you
There
are.
no, but there are so many different avenues that you can go down now,
True.
with a passion for food. You don't, just because you started in the kitchen doesn't mean you have to finish there,
So right.
right? So
You'll
I
you'll be a
think,
podcaster, right? Like I am now.
yeah, who knows, right?
Who knows?
Um, and I think it's a piece of advice I often give to young chefs or people in hospitality is that, to have other hobbies, to follow other things.
Mhm.
It was so cool for us just to geek out on food all the time. You were on when you were at
Yeah.
work, but after that, it was like you spent all your money on cookbooks and knives, and there was no, you dropped all sports, right? I played
Yeah.
hockey
Yeah.
for 11 years, and then all of a sudden, once I had to start working, sports gone. And so you really kind of typecast yourself as a chef, and you lean. It was so cool to lean so hard into it that once you start having those questions about, like, okay, so maybe I know I don't want to be stood over a chopping board for
Yeah.
16 hours a day, 5 days a week anymore. What else do I have to fall back on? Or when you want to switch off at the end of the day or on the weekend, or having those interests and hobbies and things that you do that kind of remove you mentally and physically from that kitchen environment,
Mhm.
so important to have. And I feel like if I could go back and do it all again, I'd probably focus a lot more on kind of who I am and my own interests, and dive a little bit deeper into that, so that you don't find yourself in your late 30s, 40s, 50s trying to like figure it out then. Which, nothing wrong with that, but
I was gonna say,
uh,
yeah, like, and that sometimes happens, right? You know,
yeah, of course.
um, I recently stopped working so much on the weekends because I did that for 18 years, and just like weekend, every time I had. Now that I don't do that anymore, and obviously I've taken up my shows and stuff like this, and I produce a bunch of shows, but it's a whole thing. It's like, what do you do on a weekend now if you don't work? Like, what's that hobby? Like I have an
Yeah.
art degree, same thing in the art. Here's an interesting thing. And I always, I think of the relationship to the industry that I've been in. This is my 34th year. And what I've noticed is I also have an art degree. Like I major in painting, and I was painting and stuff before my daughter was born. Um, it was that thing that, how did you pull yourself away from the arts? Like, how do you pull yourself away from it so your mind can process a lot of the stuff that we really don't see? Because when we're in the trenches, that scope kind of gets really narrow of what you see all the time. So when you go out, and even for me, leaving this past weekend over to go to Chicago and hang out in Chicago for the weekend, I come back and it's like, wow, like it's a whole different perspective now of going, wow, like look at this stuff. Or also the appreciation that we have, or what we have, especially with like our show and stuff, that I'm like, wow, I'm pretty appreciative to being recognized in that crowd amongst 50 some thousand people who was at this event. So there's a lot of different things. I think it's normal in a way. But what do you do? What is that hobby? Do you have a hobby or anything else outside of being a chef and being an industry rock star?
Yeah, well, yeah. So I've taken up stand-up paddleboarding.
Shut up!
Yeah,
Seriously?
yeah. They're
In
super cheap.
England?
Yeah, so 300 pounds. You get a board, a pump, and I throw it on my back. I get on the bus, and I go down the Thames on a
Shut
Sunday.
up!
On a Sunday morning, I go out with the tide in West London, and there's like not a soul out there. Sometimes there's some rowers, and you're up there and you're like, am I allowed to do this? Can I actually do this? And sure enough, and I don't try and tell many people about it because I'm worried that it's just going to be littered with paddleboarders. Because yeah, there's
be
no
this
one, there's no one out there.
be
So
The Seinfeld moment when they all realize swimming in the in the river,
yeah,
everyone
exactly.
else joins in, right?
Exactly. So yeah, I really enjoy doing that. And
But
yeah,
there's
I
a lot of
mean,
pause moments doing that.
for sure, for
Oh
sure.
God.
Sunny Sunday, paddling under Hammersmith Bridge, or yeah, wherever. It's yeah, beautiful. You don't want it to end. And then I always come out at this pub, and then everyone looks at me like I'm just an absolute nutter because they're all downing pints on the patio outside, and up I pull with my massive bag and pump, and I deflate the board, and yeah,
I
but
love it,
the
man.
pint tastes delicious at the end.
Wow. So so I always say, like when you inspire others, especially chefs like yourself coming on our show, inspiring others. I'm guessing you're going to tell everyone you got to go and get that second hobby or that second thing to help you as a chef.
Yeah, whatever it is, and there's I guess there's still a lot of interest that I'd love to take up. I'd love to have a go at pottery. All
Oh, that's a
the
good one.
all the time that you're thinking of a plate or a vessel or something, and you're trying to find it. It's like, well, if I could just make it, wouldn't that be cool? So yeah, creative outlets like that. I used to draw a lot as a kid, and I used to be pretty, never seriously, but dabbled in the arts, and I was a pretty artistic kid. um so yeah, finding a way to reconnect with that would be pretty cool.
It's so awesome, so awesome. So let's lead up to where you are today. So because I could probably chat with you all day, and I don't want to take all your time because it is late there. Um, let's talk a little bit about where you are right now.
Yeah, cool. So arrived in London 12 years ago, and I guess it's really where my professional career kind of spawned. I worked for Joel Robuchon here at his two-star restaurant. First job when I was in London, so that was baptism by fire. Again, kitchen where speaking a language that wasn't my first. high stakes, high pressure. So yeah, that was amazing. Went on to open Oblix in the Shard, which was, I guess, my first real like high volume opening with Reiner Becker and the team from Zuma. Some great chefs there. Worked my way up to head chef there, and then spent a bit of time at Kitchen Table with JKS Restaurants and James Knappett. So it was there kind of between first and second star. And then went over to Annabelle's. So the infamous Annabelle's private members club in Mayfair. So I was the final head chef of the original Annabelle's Club at 44 Berkeley Square, where the Stones played and it all happened.
I was gonna say it's very
Queen,
famous.
Queen was there, and so yeah, it was who's performing this weekend? Is it Elton? Is it Gaga?
Oh
Is
my
it
god!
yeah?
Serious?
Insane. Yeah, and caviar
Oh,
like you've never seen before.
oh,
And then yeah, open the new club. So it moved two doors down, and it was like the original but on steroids. I think it's 16,000 square feet and like
holy!
massive. So did the opening there, 5 international restaurants, 2 private dining rooms. And then yeah, that was like lifestyles of the rich and famous. It was pretty cool. Um, and then yeah, COVID happened. Not ideal. But
Were you at Annabelle's when that happened? Like that's where you were when COVID?
so December 2019. My husband and I decided we knew that we wanted to adopt. We wanted to start a family
Okay, yeah.
in the not too distant future. So we said, hey, let's both quit our jobs and let's go traveling for 6 months. Once in a lifetime opportunity. So we quit
Yeah.
our jobs in December 2019.
Oh no.
And then we hopped on we put all of our shit in a storage unit. And then we flew to Delhi, and yeah, we backpacked around India for a month, and then we went to Nepal, and then we went to Sri Lanka, and then the world started to close
Yeah.
in on us. And I mean, I can't complain too much because we ended up spending 3.5 months on Phuket in the south of Thailand.
Serious.
So that's where we
Is that
spent
where you were?
lockdown. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, and we got the most insane deal on an Airbnb because, of course, no one could come on or off the island. We decided to hunker
Yeah.
down and stay. So we paid peanuts for a 2-bed villa with a pool and an outdoor kitchen. It was like prawns every day, and it's amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, minus all the horror and carnage and
Yeah.
everything that happened everywhere else in the world. And then yeah, came back and got involved in arcade food halls and JKS restaurants. Opened 2 massive food halls, launched 18
Wow.
brands, and then yeah, fatherhood, which also kind of changed a lot.
Yeah.
I decided to be stay-at-home dad, so I was home for a year, getting our son acclimatized. And yeah, decided to kind of go off on my own. So I guess feel ready to kind of work through my own ideas and I guess have fewer sign-offs in terms of creative direction. And I was ready to kind of release myself into the world and not always be affiliated with a particular company or business or
Mhm.
organization. I spoke to someone who gave me a bit of a LinkedIn health check, and they looked at my LinkedIn profile and they said, you define yourself by where you work. There's no personality here. It's very much, and I always felt that
Mm.
pressure of whatever I said was always like an indication of the business I worked for, the people I worked with. I was very conscious of that. And one of the most amazing things that this company, this business of mine has done for me is given me the confidence to just kind of be myself, which feels incredible, right? To be able to post and create and not kind of second guess and
Wow.
think and just kind of throw it all out there is really liberating. I mean, it's terrifying at the same time, but it's like flexing that muscle a little bit more every day to try and get you there in the end. So there's so many great podcasters and people to listen to that kind of get you in the right mental headspace to give you that confidence, and of course friends and network and all the rest. And so yeah, I just feel really like fired up to now be kind of going out on my own to help existing businesses, new projects, just really kind of jumping at anything that feels and sounds exciting in like the hospitality industry, culinary, anything.
I absolutely love that. I find people that do that, like yourself. I just, first of all, grateful for the opportunity to hear your story. It's incredible,
Oh, thanks,
and
man.
just
Happy to share.
just to really inspire. I get goosebumps. I'm not shitting you. I got goosebumps of hearing it, and maybe it's not because it's freezing here in Edmonton, but it's just amazing to hear how everyone has this journey today. And I was just at this, obviously the big show there this past weekend, listening to a lot of people's journeys, and so many people are there is, I would say, you're gems. I call you guys gems, these gems that are doing this, and you inspire some of us that just unfortunately can't do that. And you are living like a lot of people's lives, that like the way you're living it, a lot of people look at those and go, I want to live like that. I want to have that same life. And I think the world is seeing that shift. A lot of people are doing that. So I'm inspired when I hear that. And I love hearing people that want to help other people and be creative and innovative in our industry. We need more people like you. I say that to everyone that's similar to you. We need more of you. And our industry craves it. I really do. I see it every day. I've worked with thousands of restaurants, and I see the gap of the innovation, minus technology, but the gap of innovation, I think, is out there. And we need more people like yourself to help us close it, or just to be able to fuel it more and more. So it's a complete honor. It really is. And it's, I love, I can't believe you took, it's late there, and you took your time to do this with us and to be on our show. It's an honor. It really is.
Oh, of course. It's a pleasure. Thanks very much, man. I appreciate that.
So now this company you have right now is Union 38. Is that right? Am I correct on that?
Yeah, that's right.
Union 38. Okay, I'm going to ask you, what does Union 38 mean? Come on.
So Union
I'm asking
38.
a really dumb question because Dominic's probably like, Jay, it's this. What is Union 38?
Union. Well, hold on. Give me one second.
Okay. You're going to show me? No, it's going to be something like really simple.
I haven't had a chance to put it up on the
Serious?
wall yet. Yeah, but so my parents were just here. They live in Brantford. And
what is that? What is that?
So Union 38 is the family home that we had in Waterloo, Ontario. So that's 38 Union Street. The number.
Are you serious?
Numbers up there from
38.
the front of the house. Yeah. So that's the house that, when I was asleep and slept through my shift at the diner, when I decided I wanted to be a chef, when my mom drove me to chef school, when I really started cooking for the family, like all those memories are kind of wrapped up in that house for me. And so I just, feel like it really kind of pays homage to where I've come from, and, the journey ahead, and just a special place for me, in hospitality. I also love the word, bit controversial in terms of unions.
Yeah.
But I think it's a powerful word in the sense of a collective group of people coming together that think a certain way. So, but in that sort of more positive brotherhood, hospitality kind of vibe. And 38, I'm 38 when I launched the business as well. So I feel like it all just kind of comes full circle, and was the perfect fit.
So to add on this, and you can use this, and you probably already know this, but 38 also means confidence, creativity, self-expression, optimism, joy, courage, and reality.
There you go.
How ironic, eh?
Meant to be.
I think it's meant to be, man. I am blown away. You know what?
Cool.
You need a podcast now called Union 38.
Yeah, no, it's definitely anytime I listen to one when I'm out for a run, I try and think of where I kind of want to position. Well, you know what? And I'm also trying not to think about it too much as well. Just fucking do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what Scott Turner, to introduce us, would say, just with that beautiful accent. I always say he says "fuck" and it sounds romantic. I love him for that. But I just want to thank you for the time to spend with us, Ryan. You're in Jam. I love what you guys love what you've done and what you're doing, and continue to share more with us over this time. And we need you back in Canada for a little bit too. So come and visit, and all the best over there in London. Thanks for the time today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jay.
Here we go.